Welcome to Books in Sum, your go-to for bite-sized book summaries.
The Third Door by Alex Banayan. Alex Banayan is a driven young man intent on discovering the keys to success by tracking down and interviewing some of the world's most prominent achievers. Bill Gates motivated him to seek out other successful people to learn their techniques. Banayan wanted to know what made other successful people tick, like Steven Spielberg and Lady Gaga, so he set out to find the answers for himself. A young man with big dreams sets out in the third door to find and interview the world's most successful people in order to learn their strategies for success. Banayan looks up to Bill Gates, and Gates' success story prompted Banayan to search for his own secrets to success. As a college student, Tim Banayan has the ambitious goal of meeting with icons like Bill Gates and others, conducting in-depth interviews with them, documenting his findings, and disseminating this information to his entire generation. To finance his expedition, he bet on himself on the game show The Price is Right, which was filming not far from where he was. Upon his arrival on set, he was met with hugs from the janitors, dances from the security guards, and the attention of the elderly. The grand prize was a sailboat worth $31,188, which he promptly sold for $16,000 a few days after receiving it. Author's encounter with Tim Ferriss enlightened him on the proper method of persistence. Banayan was fascinated by the idea of meeting Tim Ferriss after reading his book, The 4-Hour Workweek. When Banayan heard that Ferriss would be speaking at a conference, he knew he had to find a way to intercept him as soon as he left the stage. He did so by hiding in a restroom. Banayan jumped out for a moment to talk to Ferriss after he finished talking. In this text, Tim Ferriss and Kai Lu's story provides the most crucial context. Ferriss's first big break came after he had been rejected 12 times by the CEO of a particular startup. After some back and forth, Ferriss emailed the CEO to let him know he'd be in the area the following week, and then flew out to San Francisco from New York to casually meet with him. Ferriss never raised his voice and, while persistent, he did so in just the right amount. Superstar programmer Kai Lu was able to break through by squeezing more work into his schedule. At 27, Kai Lu had a meager monthly income of $27. When he turned 47, he was already Microsoft's president. Kai Lu's life was forever altered by a moment of inspiration he had as a young man in a remote Chinese village. He understood that no matter one's financial status, everyone has the same number of hours in a day, 24. So he began to radically alter his routine by slicing off successive increments of sleep time. Successful academic career for Chinese computer scientist Kai Lu, who sacrificed sleep for work. A visiting professor from Carnegie Mellon suggested that he try studying in the U.S. because of his 5 published research papers on model checking and computer science. His Microsoft coworkers claim he can produce twice as quickly as the rest of the team. A world-class boxer's story exemplifies the power of unearthing previously untapped sources of motivation. Banayan was able to get far in his conversations with Kai Lu and Tim Ferriss, but then he ran into a wall. Adopting Kai time, he would wake up at 6 o'clock every morning to send out more cold emails in search of interviews. The 6-time world champion boxer Sugar Ray Leonard eventually agreed to an interview at his California mansion. Banayan wrote to the boxer to tell him that he thought younger people could take some lessons from his experience. Leonard Banayan, the young boxer, had the guts and determination to get better. It wasn't until 1981, when he fought for the welterweight world title against Thomas the Hitman Hearns, that he was able to tap into his latent fortitude and overcome the odds. A tornado of adrenaline and focus detonated within him as he rose for the 13th round, and by the 14th he had won the title of world champion. Banayan was encouraged by Leonard to pursue his mission and realize his dream despite the doubts of others. Elliot Bisnow, a young man in his 20s who dropped out of school to start a business with his father and co-found Summit Series to host entertaining conferences for successful businesspeople and other influential people around the world, gave Banayan access to the entrepreneurial world and taught him valuable lessons. Bisnow made a chilly call to aspiring businesspeople, asking if they'd like to get together for a weekend of fun. 2 successful businesspeople who didn't try to out-Amazon Amazon, but instead set their sights high and forged their own path through the business world are profiled in this book. Tom Bisnow is credited with inspiring the next generation of leaders by treating 20 of them to a weekend of skiing on his dime. Summit Series was founded after he made cold calls to businesses seeking sponsorship for a gathering of the most promising young businesspeople in the United States. Bisnow, who was clearly out of his depth, called his mom to ask what they should eat. He figured it out, and ever since then, he's tried to live by the credo bite off more than you can chew. Summit Series is now an enormous business that enjoys widespread acclaim among the world's political, cultural, and business elite. Bisno and his partners even purchased an entire Utah ski resort to use as the hub of their own private entrepreneurial enclave. He personifies the success that is possible when one strives for the stars. Brandon, ever the reader, related to Banayan an account he had read about Walmart in the year 2000. To remind employees that they couldn't out-Amazon Amazon, a new executive hung a banner with the phrase. Banayan's goal was to push past his fears and start making money right away in the business world. Banayan managed to convince Bill Gates' office to meet with him after he signed a book contract. Banayan had done some homework before their meeting and found the catalyst for Gates' early success. When Gates and his friend Paul Allen were only 19 years old, they learned that computer manufacturer MITS had released the first minicomputer and wrote to the company offering to sell software for the new machine. After waiting for a reply and debating what to do next, Bill finally made the first move. The author's takeaways from the likes of Bill Gates and Tony H.C. are among the book's most crucial points. Banayan should use a nuclear blast to dispel doubt and put long-term success ahead of short-term gain. 2 pieces of advice given to them by Bill Gates. Banayan learned from H.C. the value of embracing one's ego and the necessity of seeking assistance. Banayan witnessed Tony H.C., CEO of online shoe retailer Zappos, carrying a clipboard titled Wishes List at a party hosted by Mickey Agrawal, founder of the period-proof underwear business THINX. Banayan's response to H.C.'s inquiry about his greatest wish was immediate. He wished to temporarily assume the role of CEO at Zappos. Banayan should think about the book's ultimate goals, H.C. advised, because most people don't do so and aren't always honest about what they actually want out of life. Banayan's insights into life and its meaning after his time with H.C. are the text's most compelling elements. H.C.'s ego and vanity drove the creation of his best-selling book, Delivering Happiness. From H.C., Banayan learned that it's okay to have an ego as long as it doesn't get in the way of other ambitions, like fostering the next generation of business leaders. The lessons of Warren Buffett and Dean Kamen on the need to rethink a problem in order to find a solution were not lost on him. Banayan pursued an interview with Buffett for months, only to find out that the snowstorm was the worst in 30 years when Buffett finally arrived. He gleaned from Buffett the importance of identifying unmet needs and using that knowledge to gain access to target audiences. At last, he picked up the lesson from Dean Kamen that rethinking is sometimes necessary when trying to solve a problem. The key points of this book are the insights Steve Banayan and Dean Kamen have gained from their experiences. Banayan realized that just because someone doesn't want to talk to you about something doesn't mean they won't talk to you about anything. Kamen argued that it was helpful to take a step back and consider the issue from a new perspective, which led to the development of the first competition. Successful people don't all look the same, and Steve Wozniak demonstrated that. At lunch in Cupertino, California, Banayan met Wozniak, who gave off an air of genuine contentment. Wozniak spoke fondly of his wife, his 2 adorable dogs, and his upcoming road trip. Wozniak was content with his life because he was able to make his own choices rather than conform to conventional norms. For instance, Wozniak's future role on Apple's executive team was unclear in the beginning of the company's history when Jobs was the obvious choice for CEO. Important themes in this book include Steve Wozniak's resolve to make his own way in the world and stay true to his principle. In 1980, as Apple was preparing to go public, Wozniak learned that Jobs had refused to offer stock options to some longtime employees. Wozniak distributed some of his personal stock to longtime employees as a token of appreciation for their hard work and dedication. Although Jobs is remembered as the more influential of the 2 men, Wozniak's success seemed equally assured as he relaxed, read the fortune in his cookie, and laughed heartily. Takeaway advice: don't limit yourself to 1 or 2 opportunities. Build a pipeline instead. To improve your luck, you can build a pipeline of potential outcomes.
We hope you found this summary helpful in your listening journey. If you're interested in diving deeper into the topic or getting your hands on the whole book, be sure to check the description below where we've included links to the book and other related products that may be useful to you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated on our latest book summaries, and feel free to leave a comment with any suggestions or requests for books you'd like us to cover. Thanks again for tuning in, and happy listening.